Hi, welcome to Hyperdavester. Today I'm going to do a Pearson Edexcel International GCSE paper. So the specification for this paper is Mathematics A, and the paper reference for this paper is 4MA1/2HR. So let's start off remembering that this is a June 2018 paper. Always use black ink. So the next page shows us the formula sheet, which is going to be given by the International GCSE Mathematics, and we can use all the formulas here so you don't need to memorize it. So let's start with the first question. So x, 10, and y are three integers written in order of size, starting with the smallest integer, and the mean of x, 10, and y is 11. The range of x, 10, and y is 7. Work out the value of x and y. So we know that the mean of x, 10, and y is 11, right? So we can use the formula for mean. Formula for mean is the total numbers or sum of the observations divided by the number of observations, or the number of numbers that are in the list. So for the mean, we know that the mean of x, 10, and y is 11. So we can state that x plus 10 plus y all divided by 3, because there are 3 of them, is equal to 11. We can do it in that way and form an equation that's out. So we have x plus y plus 10 is equal to 33. This is normal basic substitution. 33 minus 10 should give us 23, because 10 goes on the other side. So if we have one equation, then we can use the range formula. That is, range is equal to the highest value minus your lowest value. Okay, so range is your highest value minus the lowest value. So the range in this case is the range of x, 10, and y is 7. So these are three integers written in order of their size, starting with the smallest. So we know that our smallest value here is x, and the greatest value would be y, right? So we would be getting y minus x is equal to the range would be 7, right? So there you go, we have an equation. We can rearrange this into minus x plus y is equal to 7. Now we have two equations. Now you can use solving the simultaneous methods, such as using substitution method or the elimination method. I'm going to stick with the elimination method. So this elimination method we'll cover in the next videos. Okay, so we have this. So what can you add to x plus minus x? What can you add to get 1? So in order to get 0, we add all the equations, right? So 1 plus minus 1 is 0. So x cancels out. Y plus y is 2y. 23 plus 7 is 30. Okay, so based on this equation, we find out the value of y to be 30 divided by 2, that is 15. Y is 15 because y is equal to 30 divided by 2. So since y is 15, we can put it in either equation we have. So we have 15 minus x equals 7. We can put it in either this equation or this equation. It doesn't matter where you put it. So minus x is equal to 7 minus 15. 7 minus 15, that's minus 8. So the negatives all cancel out. So we get x as 8, y as 15. Okay, got it? So next question. Box is put on a table. So since it's GCSE, we get a formula. So we have pressure is equal to force divided by area. Now sometimes you have to know the values of this, right? So pressure is usually measured in newtons per meter square. Force is measured in newtons. Area is always measured in meters. Okay, so this is very important. The face of the box is in contact with the table in the shape of a rectangle, 2 meters by 1.25 meters. So we can represent this like a table. This is a table. Then there's a box with the dimensions 2 meters and 1.25 meters. Okay, so based on that, we can find out the pressure on the table due to the force due to the box is 42 newtons. Okay, so we are given the dimensions for that box. Now we are going to find out the area for that specific box. So in order to find the area, we just do 2 times 1.25 meters. That should give you about 2.5 meters squared. Now based on finding the area, we can find out the force exerted by rearranging the equation of force multiplied by area, of pressure multiplied by area, sorry. So the pressure here is 42 newtons. per meter square multiplied by the area which we found of the face of the box in the shape of a rectangle. We found it out. You just multiply these two values and you should get approximately 105 newtons. So we have 105 newtons. Just type it down in the calculator, you'll get it easily. Okay, so because this was a rectangle, we do length multiplied by the breadth. So let's move on to the next question. We have Venn makes candles. She has about 6.3 kilograms of wax and uses it all to make candles. Each candle Venn makes uses 210 grams of wax. Venn sells 2/5 of the candles for $13 each. She then reduces this price by 20% and sells the rest of the candles. Work out the total amount of money Ben has gets by selling all the candles she makes. So now on this question we have to analyze it. Okay, so we know that she makes 6.3 kilograms of wax. Each candle uses about 210 grams of wax. So what we can do is we can convert the kilograms to grams, right? So it'll be easy. So you have 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams, right? So you have 6.3 kilograms, you just multiply it. So multiply 6.3 kilograms times 1,000 grams. That should give you approximately 6,300 grams. So we have 6,300 grams. So based on this, we're going to find out how many candles, right? How many candles would be made from 6,300 kilograms of wax. So we know that one candle uses about 210 grams of wax. So how much candles can be made from 6,300 grams of wax? So it is 6,300 grams of wax divided by 210 grams. That is about 30 candles. So you have 30 candles that can be made. Now we have the number of candles that can be made from 6,300 grams of wax. Now we need to find out the amount of money that candles can make when you sell them, right? So the candles, you can just write candles sold. So about 2/5 of the candles for $13 each. So it gets sold, right? So he sells only 2/5 of the candles. Type it down in the calculator. 2/5 of 30 is about 12. So he sells only 12. So since one candle costs about $13, so 12 candles that are being sold multiplied by $13 should give you equivalent to 156 in revenue. So that's how much he makes. Now the rest of the candles, what does he do to the rest of the candles? He sells the rest of the candles, right? So if 12 are sold, you can do 30 minus 12 to give you 18 candles that he sells for the rest. So that's here, the rest of the candles that are sold. So he reduces the $13, right, by 20%. He reduces this price by 20%. So he reduces the cost of the candles, or the selling price of the candles, by 20%. So we have by 20%, that would mean a reduction of, let's say, approximately 80%. That would be giving you 0.8. So you can multiply this by that number, 0.8, which is considered the multiplier, and we get about $10.4. So the remaining candles are sold at the cost of each candle being 10.4. So you multiply the remaining candles, 18 candles, multiplied by $10.4. Should give you about $187.2. So the total amount of money he makes from selling the 2/5 of the candles would be $150, plus the remaining candles that he sells with the price reduction of 20%. You add them up and you should be getting about, let's say, you should get an approximate answer of $343.2. So if we check the marking scheme, it is correct. So there you go. Next one. Next question is pretty simple. Expand and simplify. We can use the FOIL method or any method you like to prefer. I would use that method. So we're going to expand the brackets. 3 times c is 3c. 3 times 7 is 21. plus 2 times 3c is 6c plus 2 of 6a, right? So we group all the like terms together. Once you group all the like terms together, you should be getting about 9c minus 13. So you should be getting good strong marks for 2 marks. And I'll show you working is very important. Now expand and simplify this one. This is a double bracket. Sometimes they can give you triple brackets, so we'll make a video on that too. So x times x is x squared because you go there. You can use the FOIL method for this in this case, right? So minus 2x because x times 2 plus 7x minus 14. These are things that you should already be knowing. So x squared plus 5x minus 14. This is your answer. You can just leave it there. You get 2 marks for some working out. So, you know, that's it done. Factorize fully. Now, for this one, I would like to use the HCF method. What I'm following is called ladder method, but you can follow any method of HCF you have. So we find out the prime numbers, or whatever prime numbers you have. So 2 times 2 times 7 times y, 21y. We have about 3 times 7 times y. So we find out the highest common factor. So as you can see, this is in common. So we have the HCF value to be 7y as a start. So since we have 7y as a start, so we can group them like 28y squared divided by 7y, that should be giving you 4y. 21y divided by 7y, that should be giving you 3. So you have 7y brackets 4y minus 3. There you go. They can write that down. Solve this algebraic, show your algebraic working. So for this one, you have 7x minus 2. 4 is multiplied by 3x plus 1, okay? So you have 7x minus 2 is equal to the 12x plus 4 because we're expanding the brackets. Group all the like terms together. We don't like to do that. That's really good. Minus 5x plus 6. So you should be getting about 6 divided by minus 5. Now remember, you can't divide anything by minus 5. They're always, the negative symbol must be like this, and minus 6 by 5. So in the marking scheme, they just write it like this, so you can just leave it like that. Now, Emily flew by a plane from Dubai to Rome. Pretty interesting place. The flight time is 6 hours, 42 minutes. The average speed of the plane was 650 kilometers per hour. Work out the distance the plane flew. So you can remember the distance, speed, time formula through a formula triangle. That you have to remember DST. You can just remember like that. Distance is measured always in meters, but in this case, you just leave it as kilometers. So don't change any value. Okay, so we have 6 hours, 42 minutes. So we have to find out the number of hours. So 1 hour, 60 minutes. So how many 42 minutes is how many hours? Let's just calculate that approximately. So 42 divided by 60 should give us about 0.7 hours. So you can add that to the 6-hour flight plus 0.7 hours. Convert this all into hours. Do not leave it like this. So 6.7 hours. So we have calculated the hours that the flight time takes. Now we just need to calculate the speed by using the formula with the distance. Then we can just use this formula to work out the distance in this case. So distance is equal to the speed, 650 kilometers per hour, multiplied by the time, 6.7 hours, right? So we have 650 multiplied by 6.7. So you have about 4,355 kilometers. So that's very important. 4,355 kilometers. Right, so Hiran invests 20,000 rupees in an account for 3 years at 1.5% per year compound interest. Work out the total amount of money in the account at the end of 3 years. Give your answer to the nearest rupees. So compound interest just adds money after you borrow some certain amount of money, I think. So we can just use this formula that I would like, is that the new value is equal to the original value, right? Multiplied by 1 plus r divided by 100. And so r just represents the percentage, and represents the number of years. So our new value at the end of the original, so you invest 20,000 rupees, so we know that 20,000 is being invested, right? So we can just put our values, and we know the value is 1.5%, percent per year compound interest, and n is the number of years that's given to us, 3 years. Now what I need you to do is, sometimes in the marking scheme they ask you to show some working, right? So we have to calculate this value here. So by calculating that value there, what we get is 1.015 raised to the power 3. Okay, so what I need you to do is to type that whole thing down in your calculator, or you can just calculate it, and you should be getting approximately 20,913.56. Now remember, it's nearest rupee, so you can just scratch out this all and make this 4, because it's rounding off to the nearest decimal place. Okay, 20914 rupees. There you go. Next one, simplify fully, right? 20x squared, yx, right? y6 divided by 4, x to the power 2, y to the power 2. How do you do this? There's always a rule, am divided by an, where m minus n, right? So m can be written in any form. So this is laws of indices. I would like you guys to revise laws of indices again. So 20 divided by 4, right? So 20 divided by 4 should be about 5. X cancels out 1, y6 divided by y2 is equal to y6 minus 2, should be about y4. So you have to show working. I'm just simplifying it quickly. So you have 5y raised to the power 4. Make e the subject of the formula. What I would like to do is to put everything to the left hand side and then solve it from there. So h minus f, e is equal to h minus f divided by 3, right? So there you go, e is equal to h minus f divided by 3. So there's your value. You can solve with basic substitution. Now this is a pretty interesting question. From point A, Stanley walks 200 meters due east to point B. From B, he then walks 160 meters due south to point C. Work out the length of AC. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So you might be thinking, how do I solve this? You just remember the direction coordinates. Just remember north, east, south, west. Just remember this. It might be pretty useful to remember it. So from point A, Stanley walks 200 meters due east to point B. Okay, so he moves east, right? So that's this direction. That should be about 200 meters. Then he walks 160 meters due south and calculate the length of AC. So you have A due to point B, from B to C. So AC, this is a displacement reaction. Displacement calculation. So or you can just use Pythagoras theorem, where you have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, or how I like to call it, hyp2. The hypotenuse squared is equal to height squared plus base squared. So the hypotenuse here is not given to us as ac squared. I'm just going straight to the calculation part. You guys can do it from your end. Okay. So you use Pythagoras theorem. Once you use Pythagoras theorem, you should be getting approximately surds. Do not leave it at surds. Just get to 3 significant figures, about 256.1. So that's 3 significant figures not yet. So 256 meters. Very important. Okay, because we rounded to specific significant figures. Next question. The diagram shows a regular pentagon ABCDE. ABCDE. Yeah, correct. A regular octagon ABFGHIJK, and an isosceles triangle BCF. Now, work out the size of angle X. How we're going to do this is we have to remember that the sum of interior angles of a pentagon is equal to n minus 2 times 180, right? So n represents the number of sides. So in a pentagon, you have 5 sides. So 5 minus 2 times times 180, you should find the sum of the interior angles directly. So once you find out the sum of the interior angles of a pentagon, you can easily calculate the interior angle. So remember this, very important. Remember this formula. Interior angle is equal to 180 minus 360 divided by n. You can do it either side if you want to find out the interior angle. So 180 minus 360 divided by 5 sides of a pentagon. You can directly find out your interior angle for the pentagon, so it's 108. So for this pentagon, you have 108 already given to you. So all you need to do is just label where this 108 could be. Now for a hexagon, what do we do for this side, right? What do we do for a hexagon? How do you calculate the interior angle? Just use the same formula. It's applied, but in this case, in an octagon, you have 8 sides. So 180 minus 360 divided by 8 should be giving you about 135 degrees. It's pretty awesome, right? You have 135 degrees. Now, how do you calculate the angle B, right? So to calculate angle B, we use angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. So angle CBF, that is this portion here, CBF, should be equal to 360 degrees minus the two angles that we just found recently. Just add them up together to calculate your angles. This is using the concept of angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. So you get about 117 degrees. There you go, 117 degrees. Oh, there's no space. Okay, so we'll just write it down somewhere, but preferably, just structure it down. Now remember, there's an isosceles triangle. So since BCF is an isosceles triangle, we can claim that BFC is also x, right? So we can calculate the isosceles triangle by doing 180 subtract by 117, which you found, divided by 2. We can easily find out our angle by typing in the calculator, right? So, because it's an isosceles triangle, base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. Remember this rule. So it's about 31.5 degrees. There you go. You found x. You can just write 31.5 degrees. There you go. Okay, next question. ABCD is a trapezium. Work out the size of angle x. This is a traditional question that's involving SOHCAHTOA. This is involving trigonometry. So whenever you see this question for 4 marks, remember it's a trigonometry question. So if this is a trigonometry question, I would like you to split this, and we'll just give a fake angle there as E. Okay. So based on that, we will take out this triangle and call it CED. Okay, it should be about 90 degrees. That's for sure because it's a trapezium, and you should be getting using the SOHCAHTOA, right? So we don't have this angle yet, but we need to find out one angle, specific angle. We know that CE is equal to BA because I think it's a rectangle. I know it's a rectangle for sure. So it's 12.5 centimeters. We can take that as an assumption, right? 12.5 centimeters. Now, what you need to do is you need to find out the angle, right? So in order to do this, you need to find out what ED is. So in order to find out what ED is, you just do ED is equal to 24.3 minus 16 centimeters, because we know that AE is 16 centimeters, right? Because opposite sides of a rectangle are equal, right? And we know that this is a rectangle because of the 90 degrees that is shown here, okay? Okay, so, and we find out ED by subtracting the total length of AD. So you should be getting 24.3 minus 16 should be giving you 8.3 centimeters. Based on this, you need to find out ED, right? Okay, so we found out ED is 8.3. Now we just use the formula. So this should be the opposite. Remember, CD is a hypotenuse, CE is adjacent. So what can you see? You have opposite, adjacent given. You can use TOA. So TOA theta, tan, so yeah, you can use TOA. So we will tan theta is equal to opposite divided by adjacent. So to find out the angle is tan inverse of opposite, that's in this case 8.3 divided by adjacent 12.5. And once we find out that value, we should be getting approximately 33.58 degrees. And we can give that as an angle of ECD. It's 33.58 degrees, right? Now, in this case, we have to work out the size of angle X. How are we going to work that out? So we know that angle BCE is 90 degrees, right? BCE is 90 degrees. So all you need to do is just add X is equal to 90 degrees plus 33.58. That should be giving you about 123.58, but we're not going to leave that as that because it's one decimal place. So 123.6 degrees. There you go. Pretty awesome. Next question. Wow, history. Cumulative frequency. One of the best questions that the GCSE paper can ask. So we're just quickly gonna understand. So you have a table that shows information about the money spent on a holiday by each of 120 families. Write down the model class. The model class is a class with the highest frequency, right? So what can you see as the highest frequency here is 36, right? So you have 100 less than m 200. Cumulative frequencies, just add up the frequencies together. Yeah, it should be fair enough, easy. So you add up the frequencies from here, okay? So based on that, hopefully you should be knowing what cumulative frequency is. So we start with 10 plus 36, that should be about 46. 46 plus 34, which we're adding here, should be 80. 80 plus 20 should be 100. 100 plus 15 should be 115. 115 plus 5 should be 120. Okay, pretty easy, you can solve it easily. So now on the grid, draw a cumulative frequency graph for your table. So on your grid, we have to find out the cumulative frequency. So we will use these values as the x values and the cumulative frequency as y values. So let's start with 10 and 100. So 10 and 100. So on the cumulative frequency, you have 10. So how are we going to find out? We have 20 divided by 10 squares. That is about 2 per block. Okay, so we have 10. That should be approximately here 10, 100. So just creating there. Actually, you have to calculate it accurately. So we have 46 and 200. So where do you think 46 might be? And at the 200 scale, so it should be approximately 46 should reach here. There you go. Next point, 80, 300 comma 80, right? So 300 is on the x-axis and you have 80 on the y-axis. Pretty simple, clear and crisp. And then you have 400 comma 100. So you have 400 comma 100, that should be found also easily. Then you have 500 comma 115, that should be also pretty easy to find. 500, 115 should be 2 squares below that. There you go. No, it's somewhere in between that point here. So you just plot it accurately. 600 and 120. Remember that's 120. There you go. So now what I would like you to draw is a smooth line curve. Do not draw like this. Do not draw by connecting them. That is totally wrong. Do not do that. What you need to do is draw a smooth curve. For some reason this curve isn't that smooth, but you get the idea. So you draw a smooth curve. There you go. Now use a graph to find out an estimate for the interquartile range. So what you need to know is that the interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. So what is Q3 is that it just represents the upper quartile. Q1 represents the lower quartile. To find out Q3, what you do is 3/4 of the highest cumulative frequency, 120, that should be 90, right? And find out where 90 is on the graph. 90 should be here. Based on that, you make an assumption of finding out what your money spent is, and your money spent should be 350. It should be coming approximately in middle. It should be coming in middle, so it should be getting 350 there. So yeah, euros 350. You have to find out the estimate, right? To find Q1 is quarter of 120. So you have 30 on the cumulative frequency graph, and it should be approximately 170 from euros, right? So now what I need you to do is to subtract the euros, and to give you you have to subtract 350 minus 170. That should be giving you euros 180. Okay, so euros 180, very important. Use a graph to find an estimate for the number of families that spend more than euros 450 on a holiday. So what you need to do is to find out the number of families that spend more than 450 euros. You go 450, you go up the graph, use your graph, okay, and you would be getting approximately 108 technically, but you know, you get the idea of 108 being an assumption, okay? So it should be an assumption of 108. So you have 108, and once you find that cumulative frequency, you just subtract 120 total cumulative frequency, subtracted by 108, which you found. So 120 minus 108 should give you 12. So 12 for 2 marks. There you go, straight. The subtraction carries marks. Next question is your A, C, and D are points on a circle. Center O, A, B, and C, B are tangents. So that's pretty awesome. So we know that angle OCB is going to be 90 degrees and angle OAB is going to be 90 degrees. There you go. You can easily find out what angle COA is by just angle COA is just 360 minus whatever that is added together. Why I know this is because angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360 degrees, right? So once you find out that angle, you will be getting approximately 106 degrees. 106 degrees isn't a bad angle actually, so 106 degrees. Once you find out that, you can find out the angle of ADC. We can use that the angle at the center of the circle is twice the angle at the circumference. So this is the angle at the circumference, and it should be the angle at the center of the circle is twice the angle at the circumference. So the circumference should be half the angle, so 108 divided by 2, that should be giving you 53 degrees. You would like to show some reasoning in case if they ask you, but because I know that OA and OC, they are both the same radii, okay, so that's why we know OCB is also equal to OAB. Tangents all match up. So you have 53 degrees. That was straightforward. Next one is a graph question, and not a graph question, it's more like a gradient question, similar to that. Straight line L1. So you remember y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the gradient, c is the y-intercept, okay? So c is the y-intercept. So this is involving perpendicular equations. We would like to put our coordinates there. Find the coordinates of a point where L2 crosses the x-axis. So we know that for perpendicular equations, it is opposite reciprocal slopes, okay? So what we're going to start off is y is equal to 6 minus 2x. We would like to rearrange this in the form of y equals mx plus c. Once we rearrange that, we have to find out the gradient and find the opposite reciprocal slope. So the opposite reciprocal slope will be a positive half. Then we create a new equation with a new gradient of m, half x plus c. Then we use the straight line L2 is perpendicular to L1. We use the coordinates 4 and 7. So we input 7 in y, half of 4 plus c. We find out what c is through substitution, and we should be getting about 5. Okay, once you find out that, you can directly put it in your value of half x plus 5. Right, so now they asked us to find out the coordinates where it crosses the x-axis, right? So they asked us to find out the coordinates, right? So we have to just give it y as 0. Once you put y as 0, you should be solving it by getting minus 10. X should be minus 10, and once you put x equals minus 10 into this equation, you should be getting as y is equal to 0. So x is minus 10, 0. Okay, so it's a matter of substitution, so I hope so your substitution is really strong. Okay. Next one, convert everything for this as 128 is equal to 4 raised to the power 2x multiplied by 2 raised to the power x, right? So work out the value of x. Convert everything to the power of 2, right? So what I like you guys to use is you can use a function to calculate the power of 2. So 2 raised to the power 7 is equal to 128, okay? So that's how we get it. And 4 is equal to 2 raised to the power of 2. So you just do that method. So 2 raised to the power 7 is equal to 2 raised to the power 2 times 2, 6, right? So you have 7 is equal to 2 plus x. We just take it in the power of the roots and create an analogy of x is equal to 5. So x should be, sorry guys. This is not correct. The reason is because we take 4 is equal to 2, but remember there's a 2x to the power. So you have 7 is equal to 2 raised to the power of 2 all multiplied by 2x to get this equivalent number. We just did for a single digit, right? So now based on this is 2x, right? You have to multiply these values, right? You have to multiply these together, so 2 raised to the power 7 should be 4x multiplied with 2x squared. So now we can use this equation to the power of the roots and find out the specific values that we need. So 2 raised to the power 7 is equal to 2 raised to the power of 5x. The x should be approximately 7 divided by 5. That should be about 1.4. So x should be 1.4. That's how we find out our values. Now, next question is more related to Venn diagrams. Shows a universal set. 7, 3, 8, 1, 4, 9 represent the numbers of the elements. Find the number of elements where A is union B. A union B means everything that is in A union B. So find out the number of elements. We have to find out A union B. We just find it out by adding them all up. Should be getting 19. Number of something of A that is not A, intersection C. So everything that is not in A but it intersects C. So you have everything but it intersects C, right? So intersection of 4 plus 1 is 5. Number of A that is not A and that is not B, right? Number values that we need to understand here in the marking scheme is that we add all the values up. Okay, now in order to find that up, we have to have the values of 7, but the number of elements that are not in A, right? So it'll be 7 plus 8 plus 1 plus 4 plus 9 should be giving you 29. So 29 is your answer. Next question, there are 8 counters in a bag. Oh, probability. Probability is just an amazing subject. Just to say, it's just amazing, right? So Fiona takes at random 3 of the counters. She adds the number on these 3 counters to get her total. Work out the probability that it's an odd number. So you have to look at the 4 possible combinations and the total of 3 possible odd combinations. So the probability of having an odd, and odd, right? So if you can see the number of odds that this can happen in getting each counter could be approximately, getting an odd is 5 by 8, right? Because as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of total 8 counters. So multiply by, once you remove them, you get 4 times 7 multiplied by 3 times 6. Okay, so you have 4 multiplied by that, so you use 5 divided by 28. Probability that's going to be even, right? So you have chances of getting the even thing is 3 by 8 times 2 raised to 7 to whatever that's remaining, plus another type counter that's released again. 5 by 6 should be getting 556. Should be your probability. Now you can use the same things again because it's the same thing, it's the same sequence but a different rearrangement. Okay, now so what you do is that you do 5 by 28 plus everything 3 times 5 by 56. That should be giving you your answer, your major answer as 5 by 28. So 5 by 28 should be giving you 5 by 28 plus 3 times 5 divided by 56 should be giving you 25 divided by 56. That's very important that you calculate this stuff. 3 times 5 divided by 56. I mean, I'm just checking it if it's correct. Yeah, 25 divided by 56 should be your answer for 4 marks. So probably we'll build up a video on probability more often. So use algebra to show that this recurring decimal is equal to 24 divided by 55. So what you do is rewrite x is equal to 0.43, put the 2 dots, 10x, multiply everything, multiply this whole number by 10x, so that should be moving one place. That's 4.36 dot dot. Okay, it's recurring. Then you multiply by 100x, 1, 2, so it's 43.6, but it repeats 36, so you put the repetition there. 100,000x is equal to 436.36. So you subtract those which are matching. This is matching to 2 decimal places, and we have 1000x minus 10x is equal to 4, 3x 0.36 minus 4.36. Do your basic substitution, find out you should be getting about 990, x is equal to 432. You should be getting your answer to about x is equal to 24 by 55 as most simplified as you can. Show that the surds is a very awesome topic too. So show that the surd can be expressed in the form of square root a, okay? So we have to work out 80, try to possibly divide it by 20 or something. So 80 divided by 20 is 4, right? So square root of 4 multiplied by square root of 20, so square root of 4 is 2, square root of 20. There you go, that's simplified already. So square root of 20 plus 2 raised to the power, so square root of 20 divided by square root of 3. This is 1, so this is 3, square root of 20 divided by square root of 3. Once you have this, you have to convert this into where a is an integer, right? So you have to multiply this by, right, these are rational denominators, so multiply by the surd form again. Multiply them by the same denominator on both the numerator and denominator. Once you multiply them, you should be getting 20 times 3, this should be giving you 60. And square root of 9, that should be giving you 3. 3 should cancel out, square root of 60, right? Once you have the square root of 60, you just leave it as the square root of 60. Solve the simultaneous equations. Pretty long one. This is an awesome question. So you have to start solving the algebraic question. So you have 2 brackets 2y minus 3, right? Square root plus 3y squared is equal to 14. You have 2 brackets 2y minus 3 brackets 2y minus 3 plus 3y is equal to 14. Once you have that, you group the like terms together and you should be getting a final outcome. Once you solve this whole thing, solve it up, you should be getting about 11y minus 24y plus 4 is equal to 0. And you should be use this equation. Okay, use this equation to calculate that. Once you calculate this, just substitute this equation, 11 brackets y plus minus 24, 2 brackets 11, square root minus 11 minus 24, 2 square root of 11, 2 plus 4 is equal to 0. Solve this equation completely. You should be getting about brackets of y minus 12, 11, square root is equal to 10, 100 divided by 11 divided by 11. That should be giving you your y value is 12 by 11 plus or minus 100 divided by 1 to 1. And you should be either adding or subtracting to be getting y value. You add them up to get your correct value y2. So you add them, okay? Y is equal to 2. And put that in your simple equation. Right, so you should be getting about 1. X is equal to 1. Y is equal to 2. So I did not show the whole steps yet, but you get the idea of how you're going to solve complex algebraic simultaneous equations, okay? So you're going to use factorizing, you're going to use all the techniques involved. Next one. The next question is something that's involving bounds, and I hope to cover it